Hello, I'd like to welcome you to today's presentation. My name is Charles Kong, and I'll be discussing Qlik as well as giving you a live demo. Before we get into the demonstration itself, there are a few slides I'd like to share with you just to set the stage and share with you some of the things we're seeing out there in the space, as well as to give you an explanation around what makes Qlik so unique compared to the other solutions. So without further ado, let's go ahead and begin. In today's world, there's an ever-growing amount of data, and that can come from many different sizes and formats. And if you really want to make business intelligence and analytics work effectively, you need to analyze that data, and you have to answer questions, and you need to make informed decisions. Sure, you can find some query-based tools that can help you build some visualizations, but true analytics is more than just about creating content. It's about helping you find answers. See, the problem with query-based tools is that it limits your ability to explore, they create a lot of blind spots, and they don't give you the complete picture, potentially not giving you all the answers that you need. With Qlik, you get a modern analytics platform that was designed specifically for interactive, free-form exploration and analysis. You can connect to any number of sources and then bring that data into the fully indexed Qlik engine. Analytics now can be built without having to build complex queries or data models, or even have to manually wire or configure objects together. You can explore your analytics freely through search and selection and in any direction. You get instant updates of your associations that are revealed after every time you click on the mouse, and that's what they call the associative difference. It's made possible through Qlik's patented associative technology. Let's take a closer look into what that associative difference is. Here we've got two list boxes representing dimensional values or attributes. Those values that relay information such as who, what, where, when, and so forth. We've got one on the left for colors and one on the right for fruits. When I select the color value such as red, you'll see that the fruits dimensions list updates, showing me that the fruit value apple is related to the color selection. And I know this because it's highlighted in white. And notice the fruit values that are highlighted in dark gray. That's because bananas and limes are not red, therefore not related to my color selection. Notice how all this information as I move through my selections is not removed from my perspective. You get to see the complete data set and its associations as you explore and move through the data using the green, white, and shades of gray. This next example demonstrates more around the power of gray, and which is very important when it comes to the capability of the Qlik's associative Qlik engine and how query-based tools remove that data from your view. When I select the animation in the list box, all other list boxes update accordingly, showing me the values that are related and not related to my selection. While query-based tools literally filters out all that information. If I continue on my exploration and go ahead and select Finding Dory, notice how the genre shows me that Finding Dory also can be found in comedy and family genre. I notice this because they're highlighted in light gray, something I would not have known if I used a query-based tool. That data has literally been removed and left behind the deeper I explore. What you've just seen is made possible through Qlik's patented associative technology, which allows you to start your analysis in any direction, automatically associating every dimension in the data model and visually revealing how that's related using the colors green, white, and shades of gray. Unlike query-based technology, it restricts you to linear exploration within subsets of data. With Qlik, you have self-service data visualization that's fast and easy. It's easy to understand, it's easy to use and visualize, and helping you see the whole story or complete picture in your data discovery. It reduces dependency on IT, and it empowers all users of all types to ability to explore, discover data, create and share meaningful analysis using capabilities such as visual data preparation, global smart search, data profiling, color intelligence, and data storytelling. This enables faster time to insight to anyone, anytime, anywhere, and on any device. Okay, product demonstration time. Let me go ahead and exit out of PowerPoint mode and open up my Chrome browser. And if you go to qlikcloud.com, you can go ahead and register, standard registration form, and you'll be sent an activation link. Go ahead and click on that and click login with your credentials. There are several versions of Qlik. There's Qlik Desktop, Qlik Cloud, and Qlik Enterprise, which is the licensed version. The free versions are the desktop and the cloud. I'm using the desktop cloud free version. So I'm going to go ahead and click login. And click login here, my credentials. And I'm presented with my personal apps. These are the ones that I've created for in the past. If I click on My Streams, this is an area you can publish your apps and be able to share that with others. I'm going to go back to My Work, and on the right-hand side, select New App, and just call this Charles Sales Dashboard 2017. Click Create App. Once I've created the app, we now have to add data to the app. So regardless of where that data sits, you can connect through various lists of connectors, use the data files, etc. But you must select the data from the source and then load it into the associative technology of the app. And then we have a script editor which allows you to take advantage of our expressions and scripting syntax for many of the data transformations, data manipulation requirements you may have, or programmatic-like functions. And we also have our data manager. And our data wizards are really easy, and they allow you to access and select columns and associate data and perform data transformations. I'm going to show you that a little bit later on this demo example. So I have a folder here with a couple data files with Excel data, and I'm going to take my orders and just drag that onto the browser. Let's go ahead and upload that to the cloud. And it's going to give me an area where I can do data preparation and data transformations, data cleansing. Here I'm going to go ahead and select the pencil icon here in the bottom left and click and edit. And here I can see a profile of the data across order ID, customer employee. If I look at sales measure over here, I can see my sales. If I scroll down a little bit further, I have a bucket tab as well. This is a great feature where if you want to create new fields derived off of the sales through a specified range of values, I can go ahead and select, for example, 3 buckets. And I want to specify this initial range as large. And the next range is medium. And the next range after that, we can name that small. And go create buckets. It's created my bucket there. I can go ahead and name that as sales range. And as well, we take order status. What we do with the order status, we automatically decompose that data into the smaller dimensions, such as year, quarter, month, week, so forth. And status ID, we do some light data cleansing here. If I scroll down a little bit further, we have some capabilities to replace, set nulls, order, split. Let's choose split, and based on the hyphen, we're going to unselect status ID. Don't need that. Let's call this shipping status. And click create fields. And it's done that there. So a lot of flexibility in this layer here. I can also choose to add field and do a calculated field off of my data. So if I want to calculate profit, for example, I can do profit and then select my sales, subtract my cost of goods, cost, COS. Go ahead and create that. And there it's created my profit field there. So at this point, this data can all look good for me, and I can go ahead and click load data. And click edit sheet. Okay, here's my canvas pane. We have our out-of-the-box visualizations. If I go down to the next column here, I've got my extensions here. Now with QlikSense Cloud, there's extensions that you can use with a desktop and enterprise version. You get that from Branch Qlik community online, and you can download those visualizations. They've got some D3 visualizations, word clouds, YouTube extensions, some cool stuff that you can save into your local library and then use those visualizations into your application. We've got our master items where we can define some reusable dimensions and measures, as well as our fields with our dimensions and measures. So let's go ahead and add in a line chart and drag that in there and just resize this. And in this line chart, we've got order date in here. So let's go ahead and choose order date. And let's look at that across the measure of sales and do the sum of that. And here we've got our nice little line chart here. Let's just click done and just analyze this a little bit further here. We can drill down from month utilizing the date fields. And so like if I select one item here and I select that, I can use my mouse to scroll in from month to day to right down to the time. And that's a continuous line axis that we have when we're utilizing date fields. And this is supported in both line and bar charts as well. So now let's go ahead and add in our KPI. And let's go add in profit. And some of that. And let's just resize this a little bit further up here. We're going to add some more charts at the bottom. And let's drag over our bar chart. And we want to go ahead and add in category. But we don't have category in here. So within this design flow where we're at right now, I can just go back into where I know my data is and just drag that right onto the browser. It's going to automatically know what I'm doing and provide me with the appropriate UI for data preparation. So here now I can see all of my information. We've got a dirty sheet here, I think. Let's go delete that. And we got our location as well. Now location has got basically city, longitude, and latitude. We automatically create the geospatial parameters we need for our maps. So let's go ahead and delete that. Okay, now we've got categories, customers, orders, and products. Now I can click on this and manually go ahead and try and associate these two together, but there is a wizard that automatically associates these tables together. And I use the word associate because we don't join like traditional SQL-based or query-based tools. We join on the common column name within the tables, as well as looking at the common values within that column name as well. So I click on the wizard button. It's going to automatically profile that sample data of all the different values in the columns, and then make the best suggestion as to how those columns should be associated. So I have a chance to review those associations here. I can see that category ID and category ID also have the same values as well. Here we've got product ID and product ID. And here now we've got customer ID and customer number. Okay, so I know that if I scroll over here a little bit more on the right, we do have customer number here, but that's a textual based value. And so the sampling of the values was able to determine which column should be linked together based on the values. And this is just an example of the smart data profiling within visual data preparation. So I have a chance to override that as well. I can go and select custom associations to concatenate a couple fields together and then create a unique key. But everything looks good so far here, so let's go ahead and click Load Data. And then we'll go back in and edit the sheet. It's a very seamless flow of me designing my reports and then requiring some additional data, going into the data preparation, doing my cleansing, doing my manipulations there, and then going right back into design mode. So now I can go here and click category. I've got my category name. And I also want to do the sum of sales for that. Okay, so there we have our data. So one thing I noticed before, notice how all the visualizations that have been easily laid out on the canvas, I didn't have to create a separate sheet or a separate visualization and then a separate dashboard and then lay those visualizations and then manually have to wire all these things together. As I go and design my application, all these are automatically associated. This is due to the underpinning technology of the associative data indexing engine. Okay, so let's take a closer look into some of the things that I talked about earlier in the presentation by using the power of green, white, and shades of gray. If I go ahead and take a country, for example, and drag that over into a list box, and then I also bring in, let's say, customer name, and if I click done, and if I select Germany, you'll notice I've got that power of green, white, and shades of gray where I can see that association automatically as I select my filters. Now, what if I want to look at more dimensions? Do I have to clutter my canvas with multiple list boxes? The answer is no. We can actually, we have a convenient panel over here in the upper right-hand corner called Global Selections. And if I select that, what Global Selections does, it shows you all the fields and the dimensional values and their relationships in one view. And you can search for any particular value or field that you're looking for. So if I'm looking for products, if you scroll down at the bottom, we can see that for this particular shirt, we're not selling it because it's in dark gray. These dark gray items here, they're not selling. So another good example of seeing products that did or did not sell, and which allows me to ask additional further questions that I may not have thought of preparing in advance. So that's a little example there. Okay, let's edit our chart a little more and show you some of the things that we can do within our chart. So I'm going to go ahead and just clear these selections and go ahead and click Edit Chart. And just go ahead and delete these country and customer name that we had. Select our chart. And let's go over here on the chart properties on the upper right. Under category name, let's call this category. I also have what's called the capability to do dimension limits as well. So if I want to choose exact value, I can choose value and give me, only top 5. Oops. Sorry, fixed values. If I want to give me top 5, give me top 5, give me top 4, 3. Top 3, we're going to go and choose no limitation there. And we also have something called alternate dimensions as well. So if I want to go and increase the, let's say, call it information density of this chart by adding additional dimensions that the user can select on the fly, I can do that using an alternate dimensions. So I can go ahead and choose country, for example, and then let's say add product name. I've got those two, and if I go and preview that, you can see at the bottom here, I've got a little toggle here. I can toggle that through product name or country. So I have that capability there. That's called alternate dimension. Now for measure setting, let's go ahead and edit the measure again, and let's go ahead and discard that. And so sales, let's call it sales. And I've got some number formatting here as well, so I can choose money format. If I go on to sorting, I can resort that as well. If I go to add-ons, I can draw reference lines as well. If I add a reference line, I can call this target. And let's say we're going to make that green. And the reference line value is going to be, let's say, 4 million. And you can see my target value there. So now there's also another thing I wanted to notice, that every time I want to be able to define a function or I can use something that's called variables. And just give an example, I can here take the $4 million value out and get rid of that reference line. Okay, and now if I go into the variable section here on the bottom left-hand corner here, I can click on that. And just to give an example, let's go ahead and create vTarget. And that definition is going to be 4 million. Close. Now if I go back into my chart and I go into my expression, and it's going to equal v target, there we go, click apply, we'll see that target there. I can go back into my variable, change that to 2 million, and it reflected 2 million there as well. Okay, so let's go into the appearance setting, and let's go into presentation. We'll make that horizontal, and we'll put value labels on. I'll go into my colors and legends and turn that off, and I can choose single color. I can color by dimension, color by measure. If I have an expression, I can add a function in here that gives me an expression of color coordinations of how I want to coordinate my bar chart with a color expression. So I can do that intelligence color intelligence as well. In this case, I'll just choose measure, and that looks fine as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and continue on and drag on a scatter plot. I'm going to drag that over to the right here. Let's just bring this back a little bit. Okay, so now that I dragged in scatterplot, I want to compare margin and sales, but it turns out I don't have margin available. So let's say I don't have access to make updates to the data model. I don't have reusable expressions, measures, dimensions. So I can create my own reusable measures and dimensions and expressions, and I can do that in the master item list and then reuse them later. So for example, I can create a new measure in calculation. So if I go to my master items and go to measure, I can create new, and I want to call this margin. And that's going to be expression of the sum of gross profit minus the sum of sales. And click create. Okay, now I can add margin as a measure, and I also want to add in the sum of sales, and I can add in my dimension of country. Okay, now if you look closer at our scatter plot, let me just open this up a little bit and expand that. We've got United States here, we've got USA, what's this? We've got US America, and we've got US. So it looks like we've got some data cleansing or data quality issues we may have. I mean, it looks like the United States, and we've got all these other values for United States. So apparently there were some data quality issues during the data entry. So we can fix this directly from our master items, and all we have to do to create that is create a new dimension to correct this. So let me just go ahead and exit out of this, go into my dimensions measure, and click create new. And we're going to go ahead and call this dimension new country. And in the field, what I want to be able to do is put in an expression that's going to clean up that the error that we found in our scatter plot. So I can do this by creating an if statement. So if there's a match of country, and that country values are going to be United States. There was USA, there was US America, and there's also US. And make that United States. And if not, just return country. Okay, that expression is okay. On the bottom left-hand corner, it shows us that the expression is valid and good. So go ahead and click apply. Click add dimension. And that's done. We can also create a drill down dimension as well, which allows you to create a natural hierarchy or a parent-child relationship that you can drill into and then analyze your data. So let's start by doing a drill down dimension. And let's say in this, call this customer drill. And let's say we're going to use country, customer name, or country, customer city, and then customer name. Okay, so let's go ahead and add that dimension. Okay, now if we go ahead and take new country and try to replace that with country, we can see that it corrected everything in there. Now, United States has all those different derivatives of the United States have been cleaned up based on my expression. Okay, if I take customer drill and I drag that in there and I replace that, let's test out the drilling capability here. If I click done and I select United States, I can drill into that. It gives me all the cities. I can choose Portland, and Portland will give me all my customers. Okay, so that's an example of the customer drill selection. Okay, let's clean up that. Click edit. So that was a scatter plot, and there's one more feature that's called smart data compression feature. And in this particular example, it's very easy to look at the outliers based on the proximity of the data dots in this case that we see on the chart. But if you had hundreds or thousands or hundreds of thousands of data points, how would you be able to summarize that data? We can solve that by something called smart data compression. So to demonstrate this, I have an order field called order ID, and it's got thousands of lines in there, orders. So I'm going to go ahead and drag that in there and replace with customer drill. And let me just go ahead and click done, and let's just expand that a little bit. So you can immediately see there's a higher concentration of order IDs that falls within a particular margin. This may be areas of interest that we want to focus on, so we can go ahead and click this and lasso that area. And drill in a little further. Maybe I want to focus on these areas here, and then go right down to the lowest value. So that's an example showing individual points, and it's smart data compression, which allows you to see large amounts of data very easily within one chart, and that's supported in the scatter plot. So now that we're done with our app, let me just exit out of this and clear out our selections here. Let's go show you how you can go ahead and publish this out for others to access as well. So if I just close out of this here, I've got my Charles Sales dashboard. All I have to do is just select it and choose publish, and then that's published into my stream. That's another one that I've also published as well. So if I go to another browser, I've got another demo user that I created as well that I've published to. I'm going to select, I'm going to select share, and I'm going to send this email to charlesdemocall@gmail.com. Click share. You can see on the right hand side it says pending. Now if I go back into that demo user, I'll be able to see an invite here. I select yes, and then boom, I can see and share my application with that other user on the cloud. You've only got so much shares with the free version, and then there's an additional subscription you can buy, and then the enterprise version. So here's my sheet. Oh, so that was the wrong sheet that I sent. This is another dashboard that I created as well, just to show some KPIs and some different types of visualizations. But it's the Charles Sales dashboard that I want here. There we go. So very powerful. You'll be able to publish, I think, up to 5. You share up to 5 people, something like that. Very limited with the free value, with the free edition, but you have an option to upgrade that as well. So here's our chart here. We can interact with our chart. Everything is dynamic with all of our selections. And this concludes our presentation. Thank you very much.